Hi, Gemini Sun and Rising. Welcome to a shortened version of the April 2022 horoscope. It's Raina here. Sorry about the oversight. Somebody wrote to me yesterday and, said, "Are you ever going to do that?" And I thought I did it. It's very possible. Sometimes I'm doing multiple recordings and it could have gotten erased or maybe it did slip through the cracks. But if you ever notice that it's close to the end of the month and it seems like I've done other forecasts, but I haven't done Gemini, just drop me a line because I won't be offended, as long as the person isn't, being a jerk about it. But anyway, better late than never. I'm recording this on the 8th. So we're 1 week into the month of April. And so I'm going to skip some of the stuff I'll just mention that a few days ago, Venus went into Pisces. Now, Pisces is a mutable sign like you, Gemini, so that is going to be in the career sector. Venus in the 10th house is awesome because it can give you a lot of charm, and this can, you can go places with that kind of aura that is desirable. Because the 10th house can be authority figures, and these are the people that can pull strings for you if need be. So it really does, you really are benefited by having somebody in your corner who has power like that. The other thing that Venus can bring to a house is moolah or money. So what this can mean is, in the 10th house, being the house of career, that you get a raise. And this is one of those things where, and also just the sense of harmony, where, sometimes you get Mars in that 10th house, which it will be there pretty soon, and there could be some friction. There could be some sort of conflict happening. So this is more of a harmonious situation. Speaking of Mars, Mars will be going into the same house on the 14th. But I want to talk about a very special event that you may have already heard about that is occurring on the 12th, and which I did not put down on my information, and I think I didn't tell all the signs about. Jupiter and Neptune are forming a conjunction. It's been 100 and something years since at first I thought it was 200 years, but I think it might have been sometime in the 1800s when they formed a conjunction in Pisces, because Jupiter goes into Pisces every 12 years or so. It's not, not Jupiter goes into Pisces. Well, Jupiter goes into Pisces every 12 years, but forms a conjunction with Neptune every 12 years. But not in a particular sign. You have to, I don't know if you took a statistics class, but you have to, do that formula of how long that would be. I think that's 12 times 12, 144 years? I don't know. But when Mars, let me just say, this being in your 10th house, it's very interesting because Jupiter is this planet of opportunity, and Neptune is this idealistic and spiritual influence. And they're coming together in this one area that has to do with your success in the world. Well, I think if you're someone who is still in a career, because some of you may be retired, it could be a lucky break. It could be something that was meant to be, but also very exciting, feeling like a surprise, but actually something that was cosmically ordained. I don't know. It is very interesting when it's in one of these houses that we associate with kind of worldly matters, because Jupiter and Neptune are far from worldly. But it might be something very good for career matters. On the 14th, Mars enters this area. So this is a very emphasized area for you, Gemini, this house of career. If you are someone who is confused about what is your life path, and you are really like, kind of even, I don't know if you would be upset about it because you're just so versatile that you might be able to figure, hey, I can do a lot of things. But if you're just somebody who feels like you're a bit adrift, and you may have felt like this for as long as 10 years because of Neptune being in this area, this may, provide inspiration, this conjunction with Jupiter, because Jupiter, one of the things that Jupiter is all about is your life's philosophy. And, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is the opposite sign of Gemini, but also the opposite house. It's the house of abstract knowledge. You're more of the, the mundane knowledge, or the, media, the disposable news, the, what's happening, the gossip and all that. And the Gemini person who begins to go down the path of, acquiring wisdom versus knowledge, they deepen their understanding of life as a whole. And so that is going to have a ripple effect in any area of life, including your career. People who are pursuing career matters without thinking of the bigger picture, which Jupiter represents, are really, I would call those people materialists, and people who are overly concerned with the material energy. And those people, it's not to say that they're bad people or that they can't experience any kind of pleasure from a life that is really dedicated to the things of this world. They may be decent people and they may have a very happy life overall. But the thing is, especially what is going on right now with the planet rising, the vibrations rising in this world, the lower vibration is becoming less and less tolerable. And therefore, people, places, and things will drop away because of this. It's kind of like, how sometimes they play classical music to for people who are criminals, like to try to torture them, when, they blast it. Well, classical music's beautiful, but you have to have a certain level of refinement to appreciate that. For people that are used to very gross, dense vibration, they may prefer another type of sound to something like like classical music. But when you appreciate it, it becomes heaven to you. And so this is, so what I'm saying is that maybe for those people who feel like they're confused about what is my status in life, what is my direction in life, maybe some of you have been looking in the wrong places. And maybe this conjunction of Jupiter and Neptune will inspire you to go down your authentic path for the career that is really coming from your heart. So Mars in this area, beginning on the 14th, can provide some spice. It can provide, some fireworks. It's kind of like, it's really funny that it's coming 2 days after that conjunction. It's almost like saying, okay, now it's time to get down to brass tacks. Okay, we had all of that love and light, and now it's time for the art of war. The art of war. But actually, I don't have the ephemeris in front of me, but from what I understand, Jupiter and Neptune, even though they might not be, exactly in conjunction after the 12th, they're going to be close enough to be conjunction. You don't have to be the exact same degree to be a conjunction. So Mars in the 10th, you have to watch out for any kind of clash with authority figures. Maybe it's one of those things where there's a falling out. And I don't mean that it's some big fight. It just might mean that you were in agreement about something, and then there was a bone of contention, and that doesn't mean anything bad. This could simply mean that you are working your butt off. On the 16th, we have a full moon at 26 degrees of Libra, so sister air sign. And this is going to be in your 5th house, Gemini. So this is that house of pleasure, that house of love, and that house of creativity. How will this affect you? Well, this could be that you are realizing that somebody you have been talking to, as the kids say, is really the one. Maybe this is somebody that you kind of filed away as friendship material. And by the way, Gemini people, heterosexual Geminis can have platonic friends of the opposite sex. I just made that up, but I really believe that to be true, male and female, because I really feel like the masculine signs, the fire and air signs, they don't really, as a Sagittarian myself, I used to always have male friends because that's what I preferred, in terms of hanging out with people. And I'm sure there are other women who are masculine signs who would say the same thing. They just kind of like got along with men better for whatever reason. So sometimes you may be in these platonic types of, and I'm talking about platonic relationships. You might be in these platonic relationships and then realize, whoa, I've been looking for this mythical partner and I have someone right under my nose. The 5th house full moon can also bring endings to relationships if that's appropriate, or endings of feelings for someone that maybe that has been plaguing you. Remember that this is in Libra, so that enhances that relationship energy vibe for this particular full moon. Okay, so, and this is good for creative projects. If you are a female Gemini, you could be of reproductive age. Be careful because you could be very fertile at this time. On the 19th, the sun goes into Taurus, and now we are talking about, since your Gemini, Taurus is your 12th house. Now you've already have some action there because Uranus is in Taurus. So Uranus has been hanging out in your 12th house. You're going to have, well, I'm kind of giving it away, but there's already has been the North Node is transiting through that 12th house. So that, in addition to having Neptune in your 10th house, is really, really calling upon you, at least some of you, to think about careers that have to do with spiritual or artistic matters. Healing. Because even art is healing, as far as I'm concerned. Even if it's like heavy metal, it's healing because it is something that people use to kind of attain altered states of consciousness, or and I don't mean like, it can be like, I've been listening to some music, if you listen to it, that's very trippy or very uplifting, it is like a drug in the sense that it can, make you feel a certain way. And So there's to me, that's a spiritual influence. And, because it's a healing influence. So the sun in the 12th can be being aware more of the things that you need to kind of change about your life, Gemini, so that you're getting rid of these self-defeating patterns that we all have. The 12th house is the house of self-undoing. So anything related to addictions, for instance, is 12th house. On the 29th, Mercury goes into your sign, and you're ruled by Mercury. So it's not just that it's not just well, it is connected to the fact that it rules you, but I'm just saying that, well, it goes into your sign, but it's also your ruler. That's what I meant to say. So that's really great for a Gemini person because it makes you very consistent in how you express yourself. I was just thinking about Bob Dylan, and one thing that just keeps bothering me when it comes to astrological. Bob Dylan is a Gemini. He's born on May 24th, 1941, I believe. And he has Mercury in Taurus, and I just can't accept that. That almost makes me question astrology, because of all the people in this world, anybody that knows his music knows that those early songs of his, stanza after stanza, the intricate lines, the verbosity of him. I was thinking of Subterranean Homesick Blues, and if you look at the video on YouTube, and you read the comments, it's hilarious because these people who are younger, they go, "Oh my God, this was the first rap song," and it might have been. I think there was rap even in the jazz age, even scatting. That's kind of like rap, I guess. But anyway, it just made me, when I saw Mercury going into Gemini, it made me think that his Mercury is in Taurus, and why. I just can't. On the same day, the 29th, Neptune goes retrograde in your 10th house. Now, when Neptune goes retrograde, that is a time of the reality check where you are feeling the sense of whatever it is that Neptune has done to you in the 10th house, you could be questioning that. So, in addition to giving you spiritual and artistic influences or nudges even, one of the other things that Neptune can do on the more challenging side can be to obscure your sense of self, let's say. And you may feel like you don't know who you are anymore. And so an example of this would be somebody who has worked in the same profession for 20 years, and they may have even identified as that profession. That's who they have become. And whether they lost their job or they were forced out for some reason, restructuring, whatever, made them leave that line of work, they can still feel that they can feel with this Neptune, if Neptune is there, this sense of, now who am I? All of a sudden they lost that identity. And so what Neptune can do is it can create this fantasy, or this, maybe the person starts thinking, well, this is, some other, they get something to fill in the blanks to make them be able to handle that loss of identity. And this could be that reality check and saying, no, you can't cling to anything. It's kind of like I don't want to use, I was going to use the idea of the parent whose child goes off to college, but that's not a career per se, so that wouldn't be a good example of that. But I think you know what I'm talking about. Just this idea, like using the entertainment business, somebody that was a star and then their star is fading. They might still get some bit parts, but it's kind of like, yeah, like in that movie, Sunset Boulevard. That's one of my favorite movies. And Norma Desmond, she's waiting for her close up. That would be funny if I used that as the title of this video. You're waiting for your close up. But yeah, the when Neptune goes retrograde, it's like taking that fantasy and kind of hanging it out to dry. And we have to experience that, because then what happens is we recalibrate. We take the truth that was unwanted and we adjust. And that makes it easier for us to kind of keep going, because otherwise it can be very tricky. We can feel this sense of, how do I do this? But actually, it's not that difficult, as long as a person is willing to humble themselves. Because, again, this is the status in society, the 10th house. And it can feel like a fall from grace sometimes when things don't seem to be going the way that you had expected them to go. But it's about not letting disillusionment keep you down. I don't know why I can't talk, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. And then on the 30th, we have a solar eclipse in Taurus, 10 degrees of Taurus. So this is a new moon. And this is in the 12th house again. So this is one of these areas getting triggered. Of course, this is a general forecast. So your mileage may vary, Gemini, Sun, and Rising. And this is the spiritual area, the primarily otherworldly area, the 12th house. It's also just the house. It's one of those catch-all spiritual houses for me, but it's a house of karma and things like that. I think that this solar eclipse, it can be like a breakthrough of sorts as it pertains to your karma. I keep hearing people using that word karma, and they're making out like punishment, because you know what? We live in a very punitive 3D limited consciousness, where people just think of like authoritarianism, punishment, and that's it. Very, very undeveloped kind of mentality. Instead of, engaging it at higher levels of what karma can actually mean, or anything in life that has that element of cause and effect. And so this can be like a new phase in your life where you are dropping some of those constraints. And we don't even know that we have these constraints. We just know what we feel free doing and what we don't feel free doing. And with these solar eclipses, they can even mimic kind of the new moon, the full moon endings, because there is, with that new beginning, something is getting left behind. But what's getting left behind in the 12th house is those self-limiting beliefs, those habituated patterns, and all the rest of that. So a lot of that stuff you want to let go of from that area of life. Okay, Gemini, that's what I have for you. I hope that you resonated with this. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double readings, the deep dive readings, because they are extended readings, an hour of natal chart analysis and an hour of transits, but with your particular chart, which is not going to, neatly dovetail with these monthly forecasts. You can find out more from me, and that's at a special price because you're buying two readings for the price of, I don't know, one and a half or something. A discount. But I have single readings as well. You can find out more information at the link below. Take care. Bye.